Hey everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Let Courage Be Your Guide, the podcast, a program where we challenge, reflect, and deconstruct the fears we face in the workplace or throughout our professional career, all while redefining what it means to be courageous. I am your host, Avery Jackman, and thank you for joining me. Welcome back. This week, we are talking about the fear of making a mistake. Now, there are people in this world who we hold to an incredibly high standard. A standard sometimes so high that we almost always expect perfection. This could be celebrities such as singers, actors, dancers, and other artists, or politicians such as our prime minister, premier, or local representative. Even our own family and friends, such as our parents, siblings, or life partners. Now, it goes without saying that to expect perfection from any human is unfair and unhealthy, because we all make mistakes. Personally speaking, I am guilty of this too, as I hold a few artists to a high standard because I always expect the best due to their history of only bringing the best to the table. Artists such as Beyonce, Zendaya, Issa Rae. However, one of my favorite drag queens, Katya, once said that expectations are just premeditated resentments. And by show of hands, how many of us have moments in our lives that we resent due to not meeting our own expectations? You see, if you're anything like me, a self-proclaimed perfectionist who struggles to live in the present and is always 3 weeks ahead in his own mind, leaving him in an anxiety-induced spiral and a puddle of armpit sweat, I constantly expect perfection despite knowing that it does not exist. Since I was a kid, people have always asked me, Avery, what are you most afraid of? And as a child, deep down I always knew my biggest fear was failure. Yes, I was a very intense 10-year-old. You see, to fail in my mind was to accept the possibility that I had just sent a ripple into the universe, thus altering my life forever. This, of course, is not true and became untrue as I have failed many things in my life. Tests, university courses, and look at where I am. You're listening to me. You see, the fear of making a mistake at work can sometimes feel as intense as life or death because our employers create spaces that expect perfection. Of course, in certain fields, making a mistake can quite literally be the difference between life and death, such as surgeons. However, even in cases where a loss is the result of making a mistake, what you learn from that experience is way more valuable than staying in a space where perfection is expected. Workspaces that prioritize and invest in active and continuous learning optimize the skills and talents of their staff. It sends a signals to employees that as a team and organization that you want to evolve and grow as a unit, and the opportunity to advance in your career and grow as a person can be done in that very space. Even as a leader, it speaks volumes if you sit in and participate in trainings and workshops because it means that despite your title, experience, or wisdom, you are acknowledging that you too have knowledge gaps and that you're not afraid to sit amongst your colleagues and be on their level. By being open to learning, we decrease our expectations and instead increase our empathy, thus eliminating fear. Here are some tips on how you can no longer be afraid of making mistakes or failure. 1. Create tangible solutions that help you check in with yourself before completing tasks, such as a checklist before sending an email. 2. Plan, then pause. Take a moment to bring yourself back to the present. Ask yourself, what's the rush? Along with taking pauses, take deep breaths. Step 3, inhale for 4 counts and exhale for 7 to 8 counts. Our breathing patterns are indicators of our feelings, so when we're feeling triggered or overwhelmed, we tend to do shallow breaths or hold our breaths. So quite literally, take a breather. And step 4, be kind to yourself in your own reflection. Often in our reflection, we are quick to jump to what we don't like instead of what we accomplished. The next time you're feeling overwhelmed by your to-do list, reword it as a I get to list. So instead of saying I have to write this email or do this report, instead say I get to write this email or I get to write this report. It automatically reminds us of our gratitude and the blessings we sometimes take for granted. And of course, if you get sweaty like me, it never hurts to always carry some deodorant. You'll thank me later. Okay, that's all for now. Until next time, goodbye.